I'm Jim Carella, the director of pickleball at TPC Sugarloaf, um, hosting the Pickleball Forum. And this month, we're going to be delving on the topic of rule changes. And there has been a few this year, but I don't think anything worth mentioning. But over the past several years, some major changes happened. And I'd like to touch on those, Shaun, just because I think they're worth talking about. Um, and the first one is because the pros play under a different set of rules than we do, which I find is crazy. It's kind of like if you watch Wimbledon and they're playing a different set of rules than we are for our league play out to USTA. I know tennis is unified in all their rules, whether you're a rec player or a tour player.
I don't think so.
Nope.
I don't
All
think so.
right.
I
What
think
are some of those
they're
rules that I'm not?
well, I am. That's why I'm only saying I don't think so. I do my best not to interrupt
Okay.
when we start
All
in the
right. All right.
beginning,
Well, we'll
but I'm
research that.
fairly sure there are some ATP level rules that are different. And
Okay.
even college, as an example, where we
Well,
play the Lets in Division One,
yeah.
and some of those ideas. But I think there are a few rules that are specific to the ATP and WTA because they make their own rules that are slightly different than what we might see in an ALTA match. But you're right; I'll have
Okay.
to come with facts to back up my opinion.
Yeah, well that's similar to pickleball then. So then you have Major League Pickleball, then you have the PPA and the APP. So you got those three governing bodies. Um, so for the pros, they play a let serve. So when you serve, it hits the net, goes in the correct box, you play it over. That used to be the case for rec players up until about 2 years ago. And now when you serve it and hits the net and goes in, you play it. It's live. It's like college tennis. There's no let serves in pickleball. And I don't think there's anything more frustrating for me because I saw it happen on Wednesday where you're way back behind the end line waiting to receive a really big, powerful serve. You're giving space. It hits the net, dribbles over, goes in, and you lose the point because you can't get to the ball. Um, I realize it's the same for both sides, but to me, I'd like to see that reversed and go back to it's a let serve. A lot of recreational players were kind of baffled by why they would change that. The one change they made, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, I think was excellent, was when I first started playing pickleball in 2019, got certified and was really into it. You could only serve where you hit the ball out of the air. And they changed the rule to where you can bounce it and hit it in because a lot of recreational players were having trouble making solid contact with the ball dropped out of their hand. And so that rule I think was good because now you can serve two different ways. Let the ball bounce and hit it or hit it out of the air. And the pros can do either as well. Um, One of the things they've talked about, and I've advocated for it, and JW Nystrom, not JW Nystrom, sorry, JW Johnson, he advocates for that as well. He's a pro on the pro tour, is letting the serve only bounce and serve versus out of the air. Because a lot of pros, they blur the line of what's your waist? Are you tossing it high? And the serves become so powerful that they want to just do a drop serve where it bounces and then you serve it. And that would eliminate all of the questions then. Because you can drop the ball from as high as you would like if you're 6'6" or whatever, it's still going to bounce way below your waist. So there won't be a blurred line as to am I hitting above my waist or my belly button. Um, I prefer hitting it out of my hand. It's just easier for me. But at the Pro Tour, it's become such a weapon. It's weaponized that shot, which never was intended to be that way. That's why when you're receiving serve in pickleball, you have the advantage versus the serving team. Serving team has to hit it under their waist, has to wait for the ball to bounce, one bounce, and the other team can rush forward and control the non-volley line. So that's why it's difficult to score. Um, In Major League Pickleball, which is a team format, they play um, a progressive scoring points where every point that's played is worth a point. And I've played that format. It's a lot of fun because you may be on the defensive side, on the receiving side, and play a fantastic point, win it, and get no credit for it. You just get side out or second server. And that's frustrating. So they play where every point counts. And you play differently when you do that. You don't take as big a chance on returning too deep. You certainly play your third shot drive differently as well. So it makes for a more interesting game, I think. But I don't know if we'll ever get away from the true pickleball scoring, where you only can score when you're serving. Um, and those are the real significant changes that have occurred over the last 5 or 6 years. This year there's a few changes, but the one that's I think makes the most sense is if you're playing, Shaun, you and I are partners, and a ball goes wide and you have trouble calling it in or out, and I can help you call that out. And before it was always up to the player that was striking the ball.
Okay,
Which in
so
tennis,
if I can jump in on that one, explain
yeah.
that one to me. If you and I are
Oh,
playing together,
yeah, you and I are playing together. You're on the right side, the ball goes wide, you run for it, and
uh, you cut out a little
you
bit, so
play
I
the
may hang
ball,
on. Sorry, I may
and
start you
you're
over there.
not
I
sure
lost
if
you
it's
there
in
for a
or
second.
out. The
Okay,
past,
sorry, Jim. You're sorry. The
yeah.
internet got a little slow there. So okay,
Okay.
so the ball's
Where is
coming
it?
to me
Where in
on
the
my half of the court. If I'm on the right, you're on the left. On my half of the court, you're telling me you're not allowed to call that ball out as I'm running and trying to get there. You
correct?
weren't allowed to help me at all. I had to call that myself.
Yeah, that was it before. Now they are encouraging the other player on the court to be able to, your partner, as your partner, I can help you call that in or out.
Okay. So they're trying to
That was
catch
a
up with
change they
tennis
made
eventually.
this year. Yeah, it's exactly like tennis. And that's why I didn't want to
Okay.
mention it because it makes
Yeah.
sense. And as tennis players, we've always done that.
Right.
Always done that.
No,
The
and
other one
hopefully
that's
they'll
weird is
catch up.
is yeah, yeah. And I don't think, I was listening to some podcasts. I don't think they want to make pickleball exactly like tennis because it's not. I think they want to leave it a little raw, a little more edgy, a little more chirpy, where they're chirping back and forth at one another versus tennis. Tennis is, a more gentleman's game or women's gentlewoman's game. It's
Gentlewoman,
more
is that a
with
thing?
between the lines. Maybe that's not a word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Pickleball tends to be a little rowdier, and I don't think they want to change that. I think they want to leave some of that in there because it's unique from tennis.
So in that case, what's rowdy about it? Let's go down that tangent quickly, and then I want to come back to the rule changes that you talked about. I got a couple of questions. What allows it to be rowdy? Is it the fact that you don't have to be quiet? I liked that when I went to a professional event. People walking around, people yelling and screaming, multiple matches going on. No one's trying to be quiet as they're serving or playing a point. So that's a rule that I assume doesn't change. I also saw that there's coaching rules that they're either looking at or considering changing. But if there's just things happening in the crowd, that's rowdy. But if you, what are some rules that you think might limit the rowdiness? Like what would we talked to Ben Bramblett in an interview recently, and he talked about the guerrilla style that it's fairly. What did you call it? You called it a bit raw. How do they keep that concept?
Yeah, how do they keep the edge? I think pickleball is a little more confrontational only because you're only 14 feet apart from one another. There's a lot more uh, uh, chirping at each other, your opponents, which is a little more wide they're not trying to quelch that as much. I think they allow it um, just because of the game and the distance you are, and you're actually trying to hit the other person intentionally because going around somebody may be not the right option. You're trying to jam somebody or actually hit them in a certain spot on their body, um, which would cause a pop up if they do get a paddle on it and then you put the ball away. So I think there's a little bit more of that. Um, you know, I don't know. There's just more rowdiness. It's edgy. And like you said, the one thing I do want to see more of is better etiquette. I mean, if you go to a tournament, not a pro tournament, but a recreational tournament, or you're playing a match, like we have two courts and we've got, ALTA being played on court two, and the court one players will walk just behind the match while it's going on. I, I'm like, what are you doing? Can you go around? There's a gate on the other side. So they just don't have that same sense of
So wait,
etiquette
you
like
want
tennis
you want
does.
the
And
etiquette,
if
but you also want
pickleball
the
is,
rowdiness,
only from 1966.
right? But if you want the rowdiness,
I just
then
think that
you
that's
can't
too
complain
rude.
about the etiquette at
I
the same
think it
time, right?
happens to me when I'm teaching yes, but I think there's a safety factor involved too. If I'm playing and someone's walking on the court, I mean, get off my court. I want to run around and not worry about running into you.
Right, but you can
We do
fix
have
that pretty easily
fences
by
and
hitting
we
the ball
have
backwards
gates so
pretty
people
hard.
can go to the other court without cutting across.
Yeah, I'm just saying if we're looking for the edge, like
Yeah, I
I
guess
can
so.
make sure you never cross
I
behind
guess
me
you're
during
right
a
there.
pickleball game. And if it's going to be edgy and you want it that way, I don't know that it's proximity personally. I think it's the type of person that goes in to play pickleball. It's backyard. It's a bar game that's,
Yeah.
full size. So it would be like playing giant chess versus regular chess where I have to pick up the piece and smash you with it. Like it's just a different thing in that way from tennis. So I appreciate thoughts on that because I'm curious as to
Yep.
how they I say they manage how we as a racket sports culture will manage the we would like you to be have good etiquette and not walk behind me, but then also it's going to be rowdy and edgy at the same time. Like, all right, well, how about we just put a sign up that says, cross at your own risk, because at some point I make sure you never do it again. Don't walk behind that guy.
Yeah.
But that's a different
Yeah.
thing. So,
I think
question
you hit the nail on the head.
back on
Go ahead.
the rules. Um, Receiving serve is the advantage, and therefore we're trying to limit the weaponization of the serve. Isn't that part of the isn't that part of the evolution of the sport that people are going to figure out how to win better? And is it then organizations the organization's job to try to not let people figure out how to win better because I figured out how to hit a big serve and you don't like it? I don't know how to ask that question.
Yeah. Some of it is based there's two things that have become a factor, just like in tennis with a bigger serve. The athlete is better, bigger, faster, and the racket technology or paddle technology. Certainly, paddle technology is gone light years as far as how much more response and spin you get on the ball in pickleball. Tennis, the same thing. Different strings. Now you got octagon strings and triangular strings and strings made of Kevlar and all kinds of exotic materials, which really, really grip the ball. Um, might hurt your elbow, but people are sacrificing that
There's
for
that.
that power and spin. Pickleball is the same way. It's become so aggressive. Um, I don't have a problem with it, but I know some of the tour players have talked about maybe changing it a little bit just so that it isn't quite as jarring with that serve.
Yeah,
I
let me
think the
guess. They're
one
the ones that don't have big serves.
maybe so. I mean, they did
Those are the ones that
eliminate
complain.
they did eliminate the chainsaw serve, which was where you could spin it out of your hand and spin your serve. And when it bounced, it was like a crazy ball, went left or right. I mean, big. So, you spun it out of your hand and they eliminated that. That was
Well, yeah,
something,
ping pong figured that out 100 years ago, so
yeah,
that's
that
not a
was
difficult rule to implement.
that was about 3 or 4 years ago the chainsaw serve was eliminated. And
Yeah, good.
of course, there were a couple of guys on tour that have perfected it, and they
Hmm.
were not happy.
Yeah,
They
I
weren't
get
happy.
it. Sorry, this isn't table tennis. And
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
they figured that out a long time ago. All
yeah.
right, I only had one other question, was
Sure.
about the volley scoring versus rally scoring.
Yeah.
And again, other sports have figured this out, and maybe this is just what pickleball is doing. Is they're gonna, I say they, whoever they are, right? The powers that be are going to sit back and just look at the other sports and say, okay, why did they make these changes if they did? Volleyball figured out rally scoring a long time ago, and they made changes for very specific reasons, and they're happy about it. So I think the switch to everybody winning a point in the same way you can win a point when I'm serving in tennis, in table tennis, in pretty much any other sport. I think volleyball was one of the last sports to have the "oh no, you didn't win that point, I was serving" kind of point of view.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're going in that direction. But did you say they implemented it only partially?
Yeah, it's right now it's only on the Major League Pickleball uh format, which is a team format, and it is exciting. I like it a lot. It's fun because every point matters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can't be serving and then just try to blast a ball and you go, okay, well, we didn't lose a point there. We didn't win a point, but we didn't lose a point.
Yeah,
It just changes your mindset and it makes the game different. Um, so I'm in favor of it. I like that feeling of rally scoring where every point has meaning. Those games, Sean, I believe they changed it. It was 21. I think they now play to 25 because the points add pretty
it
quickly.
shortens the matches. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
And the other thing that's interesting is you don't change sides to serve. So if I'm on the right side and you're on the left side, I'm always, when our score is an even number, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, all the way up, no matter what the situation is, if we're on 10, I still serve that next point. If we get to 11, then I hand the ball to my partner and they serve. Next, we lose. It goes over. We win the point. It comes back. And now it's at 12 and I get to serve. So there's no changing sides. So that eliminates what they call stacking on the pro level, where if I'm always really better on the left side, I'll stand right beside my partner as they serve and we switch. So I get the
Sure.
side I prefer. Or we poach. There's different ways to do it when you're the receiving team as well. So that you don't have to do that. You stay on a side and you're on that side, pretty much. Because you don't
Hmm.
go back and forth to serve. I'm always serving from the right, you're always serving from the left. You're the stronger player because you got a better forehand in the middle. So being on the I'm sorry, on the left side, that keeps you on your left side so that you're always dominating the middle with a forehand.
Okay, that
So
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
So
So
I think
that's
what
that's another thing. If you go watch Major League Pickleball, it's such a team camaraderie sport. It's like the Laver Cup. It's a little bit. It has a feel of this really cool, cohesive team format,
mhm.
and Ryder Cup, Laver Cup, all of those team formats. I think a lot of these individual sports-minded um, professionals like the fact that they're on a team occasionally because it's different. It takes a lot more pressure off of them. They got people rooting for them, coaching them right there. It's definitely a cool feel, like team tennis when we had Billie Jean King's format of team tennis. Um, so yeah,
Okay. Well, maybe the main question that we were asking is the difference between professional and recreational, and most of the people that are paying attention by volume are recreational. And from a coach standpoint, it's good to know the rules. So that's good to know from a recreational standpoint. We may not need to know the Major League Pickleball rules because we, as pickleball coaches within the industry, don't coach a lot of professional players, just like tennis. We don't need to know what to do on the tour. We just need to know how to make our player better in a weekend league match. So the rules on the recreational side being more important to a discussion in this world, but to be able to kind of see what's coming. Just the sometimes the changes made at the pro level filter down and end up changing that way. But does it really affect us? No, we're just watching it on television or going
Yeah.
to a match. But in this case, from our standpoint as industry types, the question would be, okay, we need to know the rules. Where do we find these rules? So does ALTA have different rules from USTA? If a USTA league is playing pickleball, is it considered USPA?
Yes.
That's like, does the bear crap in the woods? Um, is
Yeah,
that
they do
question?
have
I know they
they do
do. My
have
question is, are the rules the same? And do coaches know where to find these rules? Kind of where I want to end it up. Can you
they
help the coaches
usually
that might watch this
yeah.
find rules for their local leagues and how to help their
Yeah.
players, the ones that matter to them?
They almost always use the USA Pickleball standard rules. So all the leagues follow that format. This way, no matter where you're playing, no matter what league, you know what the rules are.